Lori Vallow Daybell believes she will not be convicted. John Pryor says, I'm asking the court to consider and reconsider the severance motion because I cannot be ready. What do you think? We go into trial April 3rd? Let me know what you think. And we're fixing to go over the pre-trial conference that happened today, February 23rd, 2023. Now, as of right now, the audio for this hearing or pretrial conference is not out, but I'm sure it will be out soon. So I'm just going to do some highlighting on what happened in the courtroom today. First, Lori walked in a blue blouse, black leggings, and orange ankle shackles. Chad followed with a white dress shirt, a blue tie, and also ankle shackles. Nate didn't mention if they were orange, but they're both sitting in the courtroom. Lori takes notes the entire time again. And today, John Pryor is going to argue about severing the cases. He wants the cases severed. They talk about evidence, they talk about mental health. So we're just gonna do some highlighting and get ready for this trial. Listening in today in the courtroom was the Ada County Administrative Judge, Stephen Hippler. Here are some important things that were said today. John Pryor said, we're not going to be prepared for trial April 3rd. Jim Archibald said, we are ready to proceed, Your Honor. I think that's a big deal. I feel like that is going to have a big part in whether this case is severed or not. And I really thought that both Chad and Lori would go to trial April 3rd, but now I'm not so sure, and I really hope that I'm wrong. So Jim Archibald says that they're not going to use mental health as a defense, and he says our mental health experts still have questions about her competency. We do respect the court's opinion that she is competent for trial, even though there are differing opinions on that matter. I feel like that's going to play a big part too. Are we going to put this trial back on a stay because of Lori's competency, and then John Pryor also gets his way of pushing the trial out further but doesn't get severed? The case is severed? What do you think about that? All right, let's keep going. Archibald says, all the mental health experts that have evaluated her says she does have a mental illness. There's no question. Archibald says Lori Vallow Daybell believes she will not be convicted. I don't know what to say about that. Tell me what you would say. Tell me what you're saying in your head right now about that. Lori thinks she's not going to be convicted, and all the mental health experts that have evaluated her have agreed there is a mental health issue at hand, and it appears that Archibald is saying some of his experts say she's not competent, but the court's experts say that she is. If you read it a different way, let me know your thoughts. We're going to go on to John Pryor arguing about DNA evidence. It says the trial is going to start in 21 business days. To date, unless I'm mistaken, there is DNA evidence that is still outstanding that I don't have in my possession. Pryor says even if the state gave him all outstanding evidence by next week, I'm not going to be able to get through it all. There is no way. Even with additional support staff I have, there is no way I'm going to be able to get through the evidence. Pryor says, either they're trying to sandbag me or there's a lot of incompetence and nobody's watching or directing the ship. Judge For you to punish me and have me go through all this evidence at the last minute because they can't get their act together, it's not my fault. Pryor says Lori's team does not have all the evidence either and says, Mrs. Vallow, then stops and says, Vallow Daybell, excuse me, ma'am. And Lori nods her head. Thought that was a little funny. Okay, Pryor says, this delay is not on me in any way. This delay cannot be on me in any way. This is a complete breakdown on the prosecutor's office. Judge, I'm asking you to dismiss the indictment. In the alternative, I'm asking the court to consider and reconsider the severance motion because I cannot be ready. Now, Tanya Rawlings is there with the state, Rob Wood, Lindsay Blake, and Tanya Rawlings and Rob Wood get up and make some arguments about the evidence and just about the evidence and the timely manner of all of that. And then Lindsay Blake gets up and argues about severing the case. She talks about how they've had plenty of opportunity to review the evidence, and yes, some things were missed, and yes, some things have come up last minute, but it's not that Pryor hasn't had the opportunity to come and review this evidence that apparently he just got. He's had years to come and review it, is what the state is saying. Pryor says Chad Daybell has repeatedly expressed his pleasure with the job I am doing, as Chad nods his head yes. Back to Lindsay Blake arguing about the severance. Blake says there have been repeated attempts by Pryor during the hearing to exaggerate the amount of discovery and lack of time in which it was disclosed. Blake says the defendant has waited until the eve of the trial to raise the issue. We didn't see motions to compel until recently. The defendant did not request to come and look at the 12 terabytes of information he's known about for 2 years. Judge Boyce does not rule on the motions and says he will issue a written notice. And we'll wrap up with this. During a break between sessions, Chad and Lori smiled at each other and appeared to say a few words. Not sure what they said. All of this information came from Nate Eaton, who was in the courtroom and tweeted us some information. I'm sure he's putting his story together and getting all the audio together, but that is just some highlighted points of what happened today. Tell me what you think. Are we going to trial April 3rd, and do you think it will be both Chad and Lori? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon. All right, all right, also, and this is way down here, and I need it up here, so let's do it like this. Tell me what Chad followed with John Pryor, listening in to the hearing today, and his name is, and that came from, and it was the 80. Chad followed with a white, tell me, are we going to court April 3rd? No.
I can't speak for Mr. Thomas and Mr. Archibald, thank you. I don't know how I would ever forget his name. It's going to be ingrained in my head the rest of my life. I can't speak for them as to why they're going forward. I know they don't have the 16 or the 12 terabytes. I know they don't have the DNA evidence. I know for all practical purposes, I don't even think they have the GPS evidence yet. I don't know. But they're going forward with this thing, and I don't know whether that's Miss Vallow Vallow Daybell, excuse me, ma'am, insisting on this. But I'm representing to the court that the vast, significant amount of discovery has made it impossible for me to be ready for the trial. Impossible. I can't be ready.